What's going on, guys? AutoMatthic here with the power rankings for week 5 and week 6, and of course I'm not alone. I am joined by IrishEmerald.
Hey guys, what's up? Hopefully you're all doing well.
Yes, indeed. And just a quick recap here. As we said, we're going over the power rankings of week 5 and week 6. Reason for that being Iris was drunk and skiing, so hey, we had to...
Hey, hold on. Snowboarding, alright?
Snowboard.
Okay, I'm not one of those pathetic skiers, right? Okay, I'm a badass. I'm on my snowboard. It's like, boarding down the mountains. I don't need some sticks to stay upright. Like, I'm able to stay upright by myself. Thank you very much.
Anyways, point is, he was too drunk to record power rankings, so we're going to postpone it for now. We're going to talk about week 5 and week 6 in here. The rankings will be just as we had them after week 6, but we'll also be talking about the week 5 matches. So if we forget anything or if we get something confused or whatnot, keep in mind we did watch 2 games from each team, so that sometimes can make it hard to get things right. And of course the week 6 can weigh a little bit more heavily than week 5, of course, because this is the power rankings for week 6 technically, but we're going to include 5 for a little bit.
Touch on week 5, guys. Just going to touch on it. That's all we're doing.
Just going to touch on it and focus on week 6 mainly, and of course from now on, every time it should just be up again for every single week. But the season is almost done, so we're getting closer to at least the end of the regular season. And with that, we both have a new number 10, but not the same number 10 at the bottom spot right here.
I think it's right that you go first, right? Because I've roasted many a coach on these videos.
Yes,
so I feel like it's time. Oh no, you stepped up to the plate. Started jumping on board the roast bandwagon because I can't really hate anymore.
It's not really about roasting, but like I said, we have a different number 10 this week, and both of us have a different reason to have number 10. I think we can also both agree with each other here, but for me at number 10, the New South, Wilmers, and the Flying Bird. Now, I've had Bird relatively low throughout the entirety of the season so far, and seeing how other people played above him already made me iffy if I should drop him or not. And besides that, just to mention a few things, like in week 5, week 5 was the one where he won against the Toronto Tyrantrums, if I got correct, 2-0.
Correct, yes, that's correct.
Which wasn't a bad game on its own. I felt like the Tyrantrums could have definitely played better, but we're going to talk about the Tyrantrums later. I feel like he took advantage of the weak spot that his opponent gave him. He did that very well, but let's keep in mind that this was the first actual W he got this season. His other Ws, so half of his wins were because of hacks at this point. And then also all around, something that I don't want to spend too much time on the subject, but in general, I really feel like he should be dropping Assault and start to prep for real this time around. That's the advice I want to give him. The way he also talked about his loss against Ashmore, which we're going to talk about, not Ashmore, Skyrender, this is what I mean with getting things confused, but Skyrender played very well, we're going to talk about him later, but calling him out for winning with bullshit and with hacks and whatnot, dude, there was no reason to. There was no reason. You played really bad that game. If you're in with a Ferrothorn versus a Salazzle, you cannot complain about getting set up on if you stay in with a Ferrothorn, and then you can cry about your lead seat miss. What are you gonna do? You're gonna lead seat stall a Salazzle with a freaking Ferrothorn? Good luck with that. That's never happening. And all the other you can just go over, and I think Skyrim explained this at the end of his video. The hacks didn't matter in the slightest. If hacks happened for you, it was your win versus them. There was hacks. This was no hacks that mattered in the slightest. Even though it might have cost you 1 differential, because I will give you, if he didn't crit mana feed, it would have been a 4-0. You're happy now? It would have been a 4-0 instead of a 5-0. You still play bad. Like, that doesn't change the subject. He has a Tangrowth with poison coverage. You had a Manaphy and a Clefable left. You also had a Calmite, a Nasty Plot Thunderous in the back. You are not winning that game at all, because you let that Salazzle set up in front of you. And they're gonna call that set what they call a bad set. No, it's not a bad set. Flame Charge plus Nasty Plot Salazzle is not a bad set. We went over this before, where you called out Vepsis bringing a bad set in Lando with Rock Polish Special. That was not a bad set. And that's my main point here. Stop looking at others, start looking at yourself. You can blame us, you can blame the game, you can blame your opponents, but so far the losses are on you, man. They really are, and for that reason they're, for me right now, at number 10.
Yeah, kind of. It's hard to disagree with all the points, to be fair. Very, very hard, because they're all like equally valid. I think the main difference is that, you know, I only have Bird up at 7 because, like, I'll get into him in a bit, but my number 10 is there because, you know, he's being useless. And what Bird bets defeated 6, who is below him in my rankings, and he bet him. I thought he did fairly well because he spotted a gap in that he could exploit and preserve the Bandit Dharma in week 5 and then exploit him. So I felt that was good play on week 5. So I was I was very happy with his week 5 performance. Now, but as you said, week 6 was week 6, and let's just put it at that after you touched on it. And then the other person I have below, the other coach I have below Bird just yet. But I will say that was a very fine line. And it could have very easily been a different story had the coach down below, because it's just by the skin of Bird's teeth I do not have him way lower, because how do you not prep for +2 Salazzle and Thunderous is beyond me. I just do not understand this. But anyways, we've been over it. Prep is just not good enough by the Waymers at all this season, and hopefully towards the end of the season, because look, there's still an outside shot he can make playoffs. So if he can, you know, get his act together for the last few weeks and push on a little bit, you never know.
Yeah, but again, if you're gonna stay with a Ferrothorn on Salazzle, don't blame others for your loss. That's what
I agree. I would definitely say that he probably may have gotten one diff different, but at the end of the day, like, +2 Salazzle was just gonna walk through 2 or 3 of his mons and break them, and it was just going to be a matter of time before Sky picked him off, which is a bit unfortunate because I thought Bird was doing reasonably well up until that point, and then just a gross error there on staying with Ferrothorn. But it is what it is, and
yeah, I think with that we said everything we want to say. Let's move on to your number 10, being the Salt Lake City Swampards, and again, I feel like you have a reason for this as well, so let's hear it.
I'm just going to be perfectly honest here, right? Okay, 5 weeks in a row without any uploads, right? Okay, he's gone totally AWOL. I have no idea what's going on with this guy. He could have a 2-year-old prepping and playing Pokemon for him, for all I know. I don't even know if it's the real Thumb Brother that's actually doing the battles anymore. I have absolutely no idea what's going on with this guy. It's totally unacceptable, in my opinion. We're the UBLD league. We're the developmental league. We're here to give other coaches out there who have never had a chance in being in like a decently run, or, you know, like some sort of like league like that, a chance to get involved and like be with better coaches and actually, you know, raise the profile just a little bit and maybe come into the main league. And this guy has taken a slot that another potential coach could have taken. Now I know he might have IRL stuff going on, but 5 weeks in a row and then he goes completely AWOL. It's just unacceptable for me. You're number 10. You're the wooden spoon. Take it, eat it, love it, enjoy it, and you're not going to be leaving number 10 until I start seeing some upload activity and some performances, because by God, that's absolutely pathetic. That's one of the things that absolutely triggers me, because like, you've been here in my like probably in my shoes as well, all where when we were starting off doing this content stuff, that trying to break into any sort of like decently run league with like good solid coaches is an absolute nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare, right? And like, literally our league that we're running here is to give like the 10 coaches we have an absolute chance of getting into a league like this and like being able to showcase their abilities, and us giving them the platform to, you know, do what, be the best they can be. And this guy has taken a slot that somebody else could have taken, and it just drives me nuts, because like the grind to get into a decently ran league is insane, and I just don't like it. I don't agree with it. And to be honest, I think it's absolutely pathetic. So he might have IRL stuff going on. I'll give him that. But you cannot go AWOL. You cannot go absolutely AWOL. And he has, right? And like I'm not just saying that on the upload perspective. Like this is like us, like as admins, also saying this guy. I don't know what's going on with him. I do not know what's going on with him anymore. It's not good enough. Number 10.
Yeah, I mean, you can talk a little bit about his game because I haven't been a bit higher. I haven't been. What's 6
what
right
game?
now?
What game, Otto? What game? I don't know who. I don't know if it's him even playing anymore. I have no idea.
He played week 5 versus Vepsis. So that's
yeah. And what happened? Yeah, but what happened? You know, Vepsis just chewed him up and sped it back out after, and it was Vepsis' worst performance was week 5, and he chewed him up, spit him back out, as if he was nothing. Nah, I'm done. I'm done with him. He can stay as number 10, and he can just live there until I see some sort of activity and something. Because for me, he's just done. He's useless. Gone. That's roasting complete.
So you did your fair share.
Move on. We're moving on.
Okay,
Moving on.
Number 9 for me. You're getting closer, 6. Getting closer to number 10 again, but for now you're not. For me at number 9, -2, and for you it kept at number 8. Quickly before we're gonna touch the games, for me a big reason that he is down here again is because of his matches in week 5 and week 6 and the opponents he had in that week. Because in that week he played the Flying Bird and he played the Arkston Racer Winds, which both I had in the bottom 7 as well, so like the number 7 to 10. You really cannot expect that if you lose to both, that you're not gonna be dropped. Like you're around coaches that's power ranking wise, at least from my side, should be around your level. You lose both with some unnecessary prep along the way, which I feel like should not have been made. So for example, in week 5 against the Flying Bird, his team was super weak to Neo-Lego, like from the get-go. And after that, you see he brings Mega Bomber Snow, whether you expect him or not. And then you let your team get whittled to the point where Abomasnow literally could have won the game. It was not Abomasnow that did it, it was Darmanitan in the end. But even there, also the situation where he sacked his Gengar, where his Gengar could have actually killed the Darmanitan, is something that I really didn't understand. As of week 6, again, a lot of things not checked. Latios and Scizor came in every time and did work. You have a Hitmontop right there. Why is that Hitmontop Life Orb and attack? I don't get that. Like, Hitmontop is Life Orb, we're gonna talk about that later, but you're facing that, you have Scizor. I don't get it. I really don't get it.
Like, I think for me, it's just a major disappointment because we saw week 3 and 4, we actually saw some serious growth from 6 as a player, and because his prep was a lot better, the way he was executing was better, and you could just tell like there was bits and pieces he was doing that he was constantly getting better, and it looked like he had turned the corner after the first 2 weeks to kind of say, actually, you know, there's improvement here, like, you know. But week 5 and 6, like, I don't know what was going on with prep. Like, as you said, Abomasnow, that was a big hole, but for me, not having an answer for Bandit Darm, like, folks, put +1, put +2 into calculator. It takes 2 seconds, and it will help. Trust me, it will help in figuring out it can something wall or beat something else. It's huge help, guys, huge help. But it was just that he didn't seem to have the answers for the Bandit Darm and the Abomasnow week 5, and like, you know, week 6, as I said, nothing for Latios sources, or it's just disappointing because we've seen him actually being able to prep reasonably well. So that's where the disappointment comes from with him. Is like we've seen him actually do it last 2 weeks. So I'm hoping that he can show us that he can do it again in the coming weeks, in the run into the end of the season.
Yes, for sure. And with that, your number 9 and my number 8, I believe. Yeah, my number 8. We swapped those around. Are the Shigago Shaymin-Skies, which you buffed up again. They actually got their first win. They didn't get to play their other match because it was against the Self-Exiled Swampers, which didn't happen.
No,
so
we're moving on. We moved on.
Yeah, we moved on. So we cannot really talk about that. We can only talk about week 5. Something that I'm sure you've mentioned as well. How can you sack Dougie turn 1 2 weeks in a row? How do you do that? How?
I don't know. I don't know sometimes, Otto. I can't comprehend what other people think sometimes. I just can't.
Yeah, you keep going over how Mega Cheetor is such a big threat. You sack the thing that can trap and kill it.
I know. It's a weird one. It's a really big weird one. I won't lie.
It is, but in the end though, some things to give. Reflect type Lottie, really cool for Cheetor. Definitely like that. And the other thing, of course, is that Serene finally got the win. I also felt because of a bit of under prep for certain things on the Razor wins, but we'll talk about the Razor wins later. I definitely feel like she saw the opportunity to get she did the Zork in at the right time, at also a time where she knew for sure the opponent was gonna click a non-super effective move, so she could get the nasty pull off. She killed everything that could potentially be fast or scouted out for that, choice garments and whatnot. Just went in with the thing, click nasty plot as the opponent clicks a move that's not very effective, and just win the game, which was definitely a good play and definitely something which we talked about before. We wanted to see more. We want to see that aggressive style and also pull the setup at the right time. It's something I've been saying a lot about this Shaymin-Sky. I feel like they have been trying to bring setup a lot and just never pulled it at the right spot, and this time they did. So that's at least improvement for there in my eyes.
I really like was the facade tech on Mobile week also, 5.
Yeah.
Because she knew that Vaporeon was probably going to be the answer, and she knew, and like Vaporeon, the likelihood of skull burn happening, like, you know, you could have all the mocks in the world, but like it will happen on like in the actual match itself where you will get that the burn would happen on you. So I thought the facade tech was very nice on Mobile. It meant that Mobile was still always going to be a threat like later on games. That was really nice tech. To be quite honest with you, the only reason why I haven't got Serene higher is because that dipstick below her didn't battle her, and it had Serene put in a good performance against them higher, but it's just circumstance that really just killed her there with me. But look, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Definitely. And with that, we're going to move on to my number 7, which is going to be your number 6. The Arkasan Racer wins as well, which was one of the opponents of the Shaymin-Sky. The week 6, they played the Toronto Tyrantrons, which we also touched about. Now, I feel like, which you want to go? You want to take this first, or should I just go?
Yeah, look, I thought JB actually had a solid performance against 6 and a reasonable performance against Serene. I'll just touch on week 5 quickly. I thought he did really good, like at this, like for most part of the game. But like if you watch back at JB's commentary, he even said like the amount, like every single misplay he made, like he made several misplays. It was, for me, he was in control of that match on the way to getting the W, and he made several misplays that actually allowed Serene not only come back into the game, but come back into the game and have the momentum to win. So I didn't feel like JB threw that W away just because of just the misplays. These things happen, but and he owned up to it, and he realized it, and he analyzed it himself, and he knew that he cost himself. And I felt that JB's performance against 6 was actually very, very solid. He had a brilliant start, and he just constantly got damage and more damage on 6. And it was just to the point where 6 had like nothing. He had nothing that was able to come back against JB because JB had the rocks up and had done so much damage that absolutely no real thing that can come back against, that can kind of actually come back against JB. And the crazy thing is, like, what the one drawback I have against JB over the last 2 weeks, yes, like he's playing teams around him, but 2 weeks in a row he's made misplays late game. It cost him the W week 5. It cost him diff week 6. That is something that maybe he needs to kind of maybe make sure that he stays focused later in the game. Yeah, because that's where he is slipping up for me the last 2 weeks. And it didn't cost him the W week 6, but it has cost him diff. And like, you know, he like how close the 3rd and 4th spot is in the playoff race. Like,
it's really close.
That could potentially have a really big impact. So
yeah,
for me, that's a big drawback, and he's something he has to definitely look at. Yeah,
usually I'm like rather secure to win than differential, but at this point there was no reason to risk Latios versus a Scarf Mousewine at all. Vaporeon was there at full. There was no reason not to go Vaporeon, but you touched about that before. Something I did want to touch about the match against Serene is that I feel like he made a massive mistake in prep by not bringing speed control for the Zork in general, or for Superior for that matter, for Dark Trio. Like, she had a lot of fast mons, and you do not bring the speed control, which to me was really shocking. But I feel like he definitely played Battle Week 6, as you said before. It should have been a 3-0, but definitely solid performance there, which is also why he's still at that spot for me. But if we flip over to the next page real quick, we can of course see I already said Swamps were my 6th, and the Racer Wins was your 6th, so we cannot really touch again on those. So it's probably time we move on to our number 5, which we are agreeing on. For me it's a -2, for you a -1, and those are Toronto Turtles. And what do you feel about Squid? Is he undercooked? Is he choking? Is he blazing? What is probably not blazing?
I think I think he was like, you know, just perfectly cooked at the start of the season, and he's kind of like, he's gone past his sell-by date by now, if you know what I mean. Like he's gone past the due date on the packaging that you get from the supermarket, and he's put down the bin and you need to go into the supermarket and buy a new squid. That's the way I look at it, because he's been on a slippery slope lately. On a very slippery slope lately, and he's become a little bit more and more inconsistent. Not the same Squid that we saw week 1 and week 2. Become a little bit more inconsistent, and it's not the right time of the season to get inconsistency into your game, especially with how he's been dragged into this payoff race. I say when we were in week 4, you could definitely have said, no, Squid should be able to make playoffs if he, you know, even if he picked up 1 win over the last 2 weeks, you would say he should be able to make playoffs. But he has now been dragged into this playoff race. And it's very tight, and folks, we are not like messing when we say it's a tight race. Like if you're 2 and 4, you still have a chance, because you're playing, like, everyone's playing each other, competing for those playoff spots. So like definitely, most teams still have a show here. It's crazy. So I feel like it's just inconsistency that's killing me. And the worst thing is, right, I'll just touch on quickly because I won't spend too much time, but his week 6 battle, he had Vepsis in the best possible position Vepsis in all season, by getting the crit on the Lando with the Zardex and bopping it. He easily had him in the best possible position, and he, like, not only does he capitalize, but he kind of it's almost like he kind of panics and loses his head a little bit, and just like Vepsis just like literally takes a moment, pauses, calms himself, has a couple of turns, and all of a sudden, rather than actually having, you know, a good lead, Squid is 4 and 4 with Vepsis having the momentum after picking off one of his mons with Megalopony. So I was looking at it saying, how does Vepsis get back into this so quickly and so easily? Like, I was shocked, very disappointed. So
yeah, that's the thing. Like, you put an opponent in a situation where he described in his own video, like, turn 1, you have to throw your game plan completely out of the window because of a crit, and re-establish. And in that process, you should take advantage of your opponent, because he's clearly not in control. He has to rethink. He has to reassign his mons to what beats what again. And you definitely need to take advantage of that to make sure that you put enough pressure to prevent that from him getting back into the game, which is exactly what happened in the end. He did come back into the game.
Exactly, and that's the most disappointing thing out of 2 weeks. It's just that he was just too inconsistent, just way too inconsistent at this point, and
yeah. For me, the thing as well is he played 2 coaches which he could face in the playoffs, like with the Thunders and the Dragons, and he lost 4-0 to both, which is debatable, but also a really bad disappointment for himself, probably. Something else which I quickly want to touch about week 5 is I didn't really get why Cobalion was not there to always revenge something like a Mega Kangaskhan, because normal spam was definitely an issue versus your team, so I'm not really sure why that didn't show up. And again, in both matches, I really didn't feel like he was in a winning position. I feel like he started off well against the Appalachian Thunder and like knocking off stuff and whatnot, but then it just all vanished. Like, as soon as Mega Can came in, click Power Punch, it won. It won. It won a speed tie. That's changed a little bit, but it just won out of nowhere.
But, like, we'll definitely touch on the week 5 match with Ash later on, but it was definitely for me, it was more the case where it was like picking stuff off a little bit off Ash, but Ash fully knew what he was doing the whole time by allowing it, because he knew he needed a chip here, chip on this one, chip on that one. It looked great. If you were looking on Squid's side, like only on Squid's side, it looked like he was in great control. But then when you review it on Ash's side, you're like, you just see that Ash just allowed him. He just allowed him to do it because he knew that if by getting all his final chip, Crobat wins, and he didn't even need Crobat to win. So, you know, I think 5 is the best spot for Squid, because I think he is coach that will miss out on playoffs. That's the way I look at it right now, because I do think he'll miss out on playoffs at this moment.
At this point, I mean, the season is still there. He could make it, but it's gonna be
tough.
He wasn't in a very good position, like you said before. He had the momentum for his team going on, and then fifth happened. But I think we made the picture clear about how this looks. So let's move on to number 4, which is going to be the Slovenia Slowbros. For both of us, having 2 very tough opponents this week in Skyrander and in Ashmore, which are both ranked higher than him. In general, he had Vepsis the week before. He had a hard schedule. He actually, in week 5 and 6, if you take focus at that, he won 1, he lost 1, and I've also really feel like, also by looking at my notes, I mean, Skills for week 5 was definitely cool. Definitely cool prep to kind of get Guts away from Conkelda. If it would have worked, definitely would have loved to see that work, but ended up in a 4-0 L for him, and a really solid performance in the week off. He just got back into the game. Really solid performance overall. He knew what to get rid of to make Raikou shine, because on prep, when I saw his team, I disagreed so much with this Raikou set, because it doesn't work in my opinion versus a team with a Zero Aura and with a Mudsteel. It doesn't work, and he was able to play it correctly and just I mean that's the one thing, like the coach that wins is the coach that had the right prep, right? That's in this case, unless RNG is involved, but in this case that was definitely the case. Even though this set, in my personal eyes, was not the set to bring, he positioned himself in a way where it could do work, and it actually won him the game. So big props to him from making that game plan, sticking to it, and also executing it in that way.
I was very impressed. I was very, very impressed over the last little while. We said a few weeks ago that start doing like the higher ranked coaches. I thought Vepsis was a big ask, like first turnaround, but like, and you know, when we went over that, and Sky, that was another really big ask for me as well. And the only thing I'll touch on with the week 5, and for me, it's I made a point earlier, and I'm going to say it again. Doing the calculator, guys, like how Sky has gotten away with having Nasty Claw Thunderous time and time again, and nobody has brought something to say, screw your Nasty Claw Thunderous, I'm not allowing that to kill me this week. You have to come up with something else. It's baffling to me, because no, he did it. Like, he had the Nasty Claw Stazzle against Bird, but he also had the Nasty Claw Thunderous in the back, and the Nasty Claw Thunderous is what defeated Marlot. So that was my main gripe against Marlot's prep in week 5, and I think that kind of strings along with what we said week 4, that the prep Marlot has. But I loved what he did week 6. I absolutely love what he did week 6. He knew Mudsteel was going to be the answer to Infernape, and he brought the White Herb, Solar Beam, and because not only did that hit Mudsteel, it bought the Tapu Fini as well, which were both answers for the Infernape. Now obviously Mudsteel would have been answer number 1 because Gunk Shot is a thing on Infernape, but no one would have suspected the Solar Beam. I was expecting Grass Knot, and I'm a little bit surprised Ash did as well, but I was shocked when I saw the White Herb Solar Beam being popped and kill, and I was like, that was brilliant, because for me, up until that point, Ash looked like he was he was on his way to victory. He looked like he was in control. He was about to execute his game plan, and then Marlock just with his prep, with that tech, I loved it. Absolutely bopped Ash, put him really pushed back Ash, and Marla end up just capitalizing and pushing a little bit further and grabbing the W. I just can't put him higher than 4 because I just feel like he's just too inconsistent with his prep sometimes. We've seen against Vepsis and Sky, the prep is just not good enough week in, week out. But this week I finally saw the prep. I've been crying out, been saying that really good coaches, you need a little bit of something, special in your team to be able to just catch them off guard. And that white herb soda beam inferno is what I was wanting to see, and it was brilliantly executed. GG about that, loved it, absolutely loved it.
Yes, and that's also the thing why I feel like 4th fits him. Yeah, he might not be the consistent one, as you said, with the loss, the rough losses versus Vepsis and Skyrender, but he is still the team, as we're currently looking at how the season is developing, that will probably snack up one of those playoff spots if he keeps playing like this. Like, you don't need to be first for playoffs. Like, I definitely can see him just being 4th steady and take that spot like that, just there, and then see what playoffs can bring him.
He does, and I believe he has to play Squid as well. So that's a huge must win for Squid, because if Squid loses that game, that's like a 2-game swing right there, because Marla all of a sudden it gets that extra lead on top of Squid. And I think if Squid loses that game against Marla later on in the season, I'm not sure if it's week 8 or week 9, but whenever that game happens, if that's week 8 and Squid loses, Squid's gone in my opinion, and Marla is kind of in either the 3rd or 4th seed. But
yeah, let's move on to...
Definitely been very impressed, and especially with a coach that was ranked.
Yes, definitely. So let's move on to number 3, which we also share. And that is going to be the Appalachian Thunders, which were the opponents of course, of the Slowbros. So, again, 2 games. They played the Toronto Toadouts and the Slovenia Slowbros. We both touched on the games before. My biggest thing is he played against Squid really well. Again, he found the opportunity to get a Mega Kangaskhan, click Power Punch, just click buttons after that and win the game. And then week 6 came around and he kinda... How do you put it? I put it as he kind of lost in week 6 the way he won in week 5, if that makes sense. Like, getting rid of the things that can stop you, get in the mod at the right time, click the setup move at the right time, and win. Like, that's how he won week 5, that's how he lost week 6.
Oof, I don't know. I think he lost against Marla, but for me, we expect him white herb solar beam every week, so I got to give him a bit of slack there. I just, that was for me, because that's just insanely good prep, and when you lose the good prep, I'm not gonna you just got to put your hands up and say I didn't see that one coming, I lost, and I'm gonna let that one slide with him. The only problem I had with his match against Marla was that, and he had there was 2 mons weak to Earth Power and 1 mon and Bayonet who was low at this point, that was neutral. And why he went Draco instead of Earth Power is beyond me. Now, he even said himself that was a huge misplay, but for me, he should have clicked Earth Power, got a super effective hit on the 2 mons that were still healthy, or guaranteed the KO on Bayonet. I don't know what was going through his mind there. There must have been something when he was doing the live battle that had him a little bit more frazzled, because he was trying to figure out the end game. But that was his only misplay for me was that. Other than that, I think Marla just had the prep, and I feel like Ash was executing his game plan perfectly in week 6 until Marla's prep just stunned him. The one thing I want to touch on, I felt that his week 5 match was awesome. I absolutely loved this week 5 match. It was like Ash was back once again. He had the plan. He laid it all out for us in start of his video. He said, this is my win cons. I need to get damage on this. I need to pick this thing up. Crobat's going to win the game. Kangaskhan's going to be my wall breaker. That's all I need to do. If I can get the chip on that, no matter who goes down, as long as Crobat's in the back, I'll win the game. No problem, easy. And that's exactly what happened. And he just executed to perfection like we saw him do in week 1. And I absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. So, for me, I think Ash is number 3, because for me, despite who it is now, I was thinking he can make playoffs, and I still, it would be, if there's one coach I feel like that could beat Sky or Vepsis, or has the best chance of being Sky or Vepsis, it would be Ash. I would actually think Ash has a better chance of being Vepsis than Sky does, personally. So I do think Ash will make playoffs, and if he does make playoffs,
he's gonna be dangerous. You don't want that round 1 against the Thunders. Like, at this point, we can assume that the Hydreigans and the Stoutlands are gonna make playoffs, as their record, as the Hydreigans are still winless, or still not winless. They won every game, and the Stoutlands only lost against the Hydreigans. And I really feel like, also with having in mind the match between Vepsis and the Appalachian Thunders from earlier this season, I think Vepsis really wants to avoid the Thunders round 1. Like, he wants to, like, we've been saying that, at least I think that Marlins is gonna snack that last spot, that 4th spot, and the Thunders are gonna take the third, are gonna take the other spot. I think that if Vepsis ends up, of course he's gonna make it. If he ends up facing the Thunders, he is not gonna be happy in round 1. I think he definitely wants to avoid that, because he already knows that if he wins round 1 in a championship, he's gonna go up against one of the other two, like against the Stoutlands or against the Thunders. He definitely wants the Slurburst in round 1, because that can be a nightmare for him. And it has happened before, even to him, that he won like almost every game in the entire season, and then round 1 of the playoffs comes and you lose. And I definitely feel like Ash is one of those people that can't give him that L.
Oh yeah, no, big time. I think if there's one, if the one coach I think the top 2 do not want to face, it's Ash, big time. I think he's major threat.
Speaking of top 2, at number 2 we have the Scandinavian Stoutlands still remaining there. What is to say about, like regardless of their games this week, they only lost 1 game against a team that's ranked number 1. Like, every other game, his prep has been solid, his plays have been solid. He lost week 1 against Vepsis, yes. After that, 4-0, 3-0, 6-0, 4-0, 5-0. Like, those are solid results against. And then to keep in mind, the teams he is going to play right now are your bottom 3 teams in the power ranking. Those are the teams left for him. So from your side of the power rankings, he got all the high-ranked teams already, and he only has 1 L.
Yeah, it's impressive. It's very impressive, you have to say. Very, very impressive. And the sets he's coming up with, like, they're not like standard stats, like kind of ish stats. Like he's got like tweaks to some stuff. Like the trick room he brought against Squid was fantastic earlier on in the season. So, like, you know, he has brought like interesting stuff, but I just can't understand how teams do not prep for +2 Thunderous, because it's been coming so often.
I mean, in week 5 it won. In week 6 it would have won if Celeste hadn't crit.
There was there week 2 as well against JB, if I remember correctly. It was like the +2 Thunderous broke through JB's team. So, like, prep for Nasty Claw Thunderous, please, people, please, when you're faced against the Stoutlands. But I think we can easily say, like, his week 5 and week 6 games was very, very good. The double lance and Sazza, we've been over it. You know,
both set
spot, executed, won the game, brilliant stuff. Like, can't complain about it. And we touched on we already touched on week 5 when we were discussing Marlet. Nasty Claw Thunderous again, bonkers, absolute bonkers. I don't like again, but
he's definitely he is for me showing how I also want to play this game, but I cannot pull it off as consistent as he does. He is. The setup game is real. Like, in both matches again this week in 5 and 6, Thunders comes in, Celeste comes in, clicks the move, wins, and he gets what we said before with the Kangaskhan, and also especially with the Raikou earlier, which I said that's not a good set this week, and then hit 1. If you're able to always position that 1-mon with the setup move correctly and pull it off so many times as Skyrunner has done this season, again, as you also said, you can counter the Trick Room Diancie with that as well. That's also pulling off your setup at the correct time. He really has a feeling for that, and that makes him such a big threat, because setup is, if you master setup, it's one of the most effective ways of winning games in this format, by far.
Big time, because you just blow people back, So look, he's been very, very impressive. And look, if there's one thing I would just tell Sky, is that do not take your foot off the gas, because if Vepsis loses 1 game, Sky will leapfrog him into that #1 seed, and potentially Vepsis and Ash in playoffs. So one thing I would tell Sky is, do not at any moment take your foot off the pedal. If you can 6-0 your next 3 opponents, 6-0 them and put pressure on Vepsis to win out and force and do whatever needs to be done to make sure that it's not you or Nash and you get the easier matchup. Just keep putting the pressure on, pedal to the metal for the end of the season, because like I cannot see him losing between now and the end of the season. So it's all about getting winning as easily and as good and as much as you can to put pressure on the number 1 coach. It's the only advice I have for him.
For sure, but I think with that we touched about everything that Skyrender did the past couple of weeks. So then, number 1 still remains from both of us from week 1 onwards, the Helsinki High Dragons, who haven't only got 2 very solid W's, but also made some transactions, which if you guys didn't caught on, I agreed a lot with them. They got Greninja on the team, they got Mega Gallade on the team, and yes, that means Mega Lopunny's gone, but I feel like Mega Gallade fits his team better in this sense, also compared with Greninja at this point. And the thing is also, he already faced some teams which are likely playoff contenders. He already faced Squid, he already faced the Slowbros, he already faced the Appalachian Thunder, he already faced the Stoutlands. Like, those are the main, along with Vepsis himself, are for me the main contenders for the playoff race right now. And he already faced them all with his old team. They are going to make some massive changes, make your team probably even better, definitely not worse, but potentially better. That's so good for a potential rematch in the playoffs, and I think that can really help him, besides that the team is going to be stronger anyways. But to talk about the matches, week 5, Salt Lake City Swampers, the way he turned that game around is great. Like, there are not that many coaches that are able to get crit turn 1, their dedicated counter to such a big setup threat. Actually, that's week 6. Sorry, I'm confused. It's week 6 against.
Against the Squid. Just don't check.
The story doesn't change. Like, if your dedicated check to one of the most scary setup ones we have in the format gets critted turn 1, which is big. You not only lose one of your best ones, but also you lose your check to one of the better setup threats, and then you're able to, within a few turns, turn everything around and get yourself back into a winning position and pull off a 4-0. Like, that's impressive.
Yeah, it's insane. Absolutely insane. It just goes to show what a bad man Vepsis is, because you just don't come back from that easily. You just do not. So having the skill, the composure, the wherewithal to be able to come back from that is insane. And it wasn't the fact that he came back and won like a measly 2-0 or whatever. Like, he had brought the game back inside 4 or 5 turns, and it was 4-all, and he had momentum. It was nuts. I was looking at it left side. I'm like, what? Okay, all right. Let's keep going. So, and he still had offense. It was crazy. And I'm just looking at him like, right? Okay. So look, it's absolutely insane. For me, his week 6 performance was by far his best, because I thought his week 2 performance against the Thunder was my favourite match of the season. Probably still is my favourite match of the season because of the skill that was on display by both coaches. But for me, this is Vepsis' best individual performance, because coming back from that crit so early in the game, extremely impressive. No matter who you're going up against.
The other win which he had in week 5 was way more solid overall, and again he was kind of in control the whole game. Like, he pressured his opponent, chipped it down, picked stuff off with different mons. Like, there was no mon that got all the kills. It was just like, oh, this one kills this one kills this. Like, it's a checking game he's been doing all along. They repeated in there, but definitely week 6 where he just showed like even RNG can happen. He still pulled it off after that with skill.
Yeah, with skill and flair. He's a bad man. He's a bad brother, man.
Yes, indeed. But unless you have anything more to say about those performances, I think we're through it for 2 weeks.
I would just say, Vepsis, don't slip up, because if you do, you could have a bad matchup. Well, bad matchup for you. I can't wait to see the Thunder in the High Dragon squad again. But bad matchup for Vepsis, because I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to face that. But You know, slip up, please, and give me Ashen, give me the Thunder and Hard Dragons again. That was a great game. I want to see that one again.
Yes, for sure, but we're gonna have to wait on that. There are going to be 6 more matches, of course, going up tomorrow, so be sure to check that out as well. Be sure to also check out both myself and Irish, of course, for providing you this content, and of course the UBL channel in general, to see what episodes going up, because of course, like we said before, we're going to the end of this season, so main season hype soon, maybe?
I don't know. Before we say anything else stupid or insult anybody else, we might wrap it up.
Yes, we do. So, with that, of course, thank you guys for watching. Leave a like rating down below. Leave the comment. We love to read them as well. And of course, we'll see you guys back with the next power rankings.
There, guys. Take care.